wonderful cameras are on, so many wonderful faces. We're so grateful that we had a chance to meet you yesterday, and we're very excited to get to share more today. And today we have some more opportunities for discussion where we really want to learn about you. We'd love a chance to hear from you and your experiences and your thoughts. So please feel free to jump in and participate today. Yesterday, the girls crushed it in the competition, right? So girls won yesterday, but today is a whole new day and a whole new score. So before we get started, just remember that you're rooting for your team. Every time you're able to provide a correct answer to one of our questions, boom, point. Every time that you're able to ask a question, um, or answer one of our questions, boom, point. Okay, so remember that we want to make sure we're gearing up for those points. We want the competition to be heavy. Um, but also, like we mentioned yesterday, we have a special guest with us today who's going to talk about one of the libraries here in California that is absolutely stunning. And I will let her introduce herself. Toby, you can take it away.
Okay. Well, hi. You can see that, well, I'm not a college student. I have gone to college. I have a master's degree in social work. So in my other life, I'm a therapist, which is like somebody that if you are sad or angry or upset or have problems, depressed, I'm the kind of person that people would talk to. So Jared is going to put on, we're going to go for an adventure today. We are going to a library. All of you have, do you have a library nearby? Yeah. Do you have a library in your school?
We do. We do have our school. We have a library in our school. I mean,
Hmm?
it's not the biggest library, but it has books. That's all I can say, honestly.
Well, when you guys see this, this library is big. I mean, big, big. And it is award winning. It has won awards in the United States and in the world. But right now I don't see the presentation. So Jared is my helper.
There you go.
Ah, Perry's putting it on. Okay. So believe it or not, this is a library. And this is a library in Cerritos. I live in Cerritos. It's a city that has about 50,000 people. And before it had people, it had cows, lots of them, like moo, moo, moo. Even where I live, a couple houses from my block, I could walk right up to a cow. However, the cows moved on, and before the cows moved, um, yeah, when the library was going to get built, the cows had to move. So the dairy people, and there were a lot of them. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of cows all over the place. Okay, so they the night before um, they were going to start building the library, that they invited everybody who lived in the city to come and um, pick a crop, because besides being a dairy, they also it had like farmland. So anybody want to guess what this place was in addition to cows before it was a library? Something you eat and something that's red. Come on, girls. Girl power here. I don't see any raised hands.
Can I make a guess?
Yeah, well, sure, you can make a guess.
Okay, I don't know. A strawberry farm?
Uh-huh.
That's a guess.
Hey, that's a good guess. So they invited us the people who lived near the cows, because everybody lived near the cows at that time. And so we came and I got a bunch of strawberries. And so then it took a while to build this library. And by the name, I'm Ms. Balma. And the sign that you see there is the logo for the city of Cerritos with the library stuff on it. So are you ready to start the adventure and see more about this library? It's award-winning. You see here, this is a map. How far away are we from each other? Well, look at that. If you went in a straight line, it would end, and if the jet went in a straight line, it would take about, I think it's about 18 hours in a plane, a jet plane traveling fast to get there. So we're looking at quite a distance, and you guys are in Saturday. So is the weather nice for Saturday? Do I have something to look forward to? Okay. All right. So Cerritos, as I said, has about 50,000 people and no cows. The last cow went bye-bye some years ago. So let us begin our adventure to the Cerritos Library, which I said is famous. Now, this is a little look at part of the city. The city is much bigger than that, but you'll see that there are a lot of trees. Cerritos loves trees. They call themselves the Tree City. So lots. And what you see there is what we call our town, part of our town center. The white building is the Performing Arts Center. And then we have, the blue is like a hotel. And then we have office buildings. So all of this used to be covered in cows. In fact, before it was called Cerritos, it was called Dairy Valley. And so when the cows left, they had to like change the names because there were no more dairies around. So the logo on the top is for the city of Cerritos. So let us begin our adventure at this famous library that you've never heard of before. And I don't think that you have one like it, but hopefully one day you're going to be able to come out here and visit this library. The top is, what do you any guesses what you think that metal is on the top? I see mouths moving, but hear nothing.
What type of metal?
Oh, there's someone here that's good at chemistry, but I don't know, man.
All right. It's one I don't think that you'd guess. It's called titanium. Ever heard of titanium? Yeah, it's not silver. If it was silver, then people would be climbing on ladders and chipping away so that they could get the silver. But this is titanium, and what it does is it shines. If the sun shines on it, it will reflect. And what you see in the center is what the library looks like at night. And in the front there, from the nighttime picture, that's the outside elevator. This library is 3 floors high. And the top floor, they use really for entertaining. And this is a library. And the top floor, they have a grand piano. They have a vase from China that's about as tall as I am. And they have art, famous art paintings of different types. So this library is kind of like a museum, only it's really a library. Do any of you have a library or know of a library like that looks like this? If you do, I want to go. I want to see it. But so that's the outside. So now let's step into this library. Let's see, what does this library look on the inside? Well, as soon as you walk in, you come up to this aquarium. And this aquarium almost goes from the ground up to the ceiling. which is how high it is. It's really big. This is called a saltwater aquarium because it's ocean fish. So what kind of colors do you see here? What do you see in this aquarium?
Coral, I suppose.
Other things? What colors do you see?
No, like many colors. Anyway, pink, I would say, yellow, purple, blue, whatever colors you can probably think of at this point. I also see like starfish in there. Yeah.
It's possible. Thank you, Carol. Are there others that see something or have a question about this aquarium? Do you think the things that you see that look like they're growing in there, do you think they're real or fake?
Honestly, I might need more images to tell, but I want to say fake, but I think it's probably real. But I can't decide, man. I can't decide.
Any other guesses? Yeah, well, it does look real. Cerritos is not far from Hollywood. And I say that because Hollywood, you watch the movies and you think stuff is real, but it's really not. So the only things that are really real that are in there are the fish. And you can only see a couple of fish. And I think that if they were really real, they'd be moving around more. But this aquarium is so big that it's on this side, and we are going to see later, it's also on the other side, which is the children's library. So let's continue on this adventure, and let's see what we see next when we're walking along. This is the inside lobby, just part of the lobby, because it's really big. So do you see the sort of the stairs on either side that are in silver? Does anybody know what they're called in English?
They're escalators.
What is how would you say it in your language?
Do you want me to like literally translate it, or do you want me to say it in Chinese?
In Chinese. What is it in Chinese?
电扶梯.
Right. Okay.
That's what it is.
My tongue doesn't work all that well here for that. So on one side is the elevator going down, and on the right side with the palm trees is it going up? So can anybody, what do you think about, what kind of trees are those?
Honestly, I shouldn't keep answering. Can someone else please talk, man? Someone said palm trees.
Palm trees. Okay. So do you think the palm trees are real, or are they some more of Hollywood production? You got a good look at them. Well, I don't see any hands coming up, and so I guess you're waiting for the answer, huh? You're right. The bottom isn't dirt. If it was real, then they would just keep growing, and then they'd go through the ceiling, and that wouldn't help very much for when it rains. So we will continue walking from the lobby. Now, can you see kind of how far away the end is? I mean, it's a big place. You could spend the day traveling around in this library. So we're going to keep walking, And what we see on the right side is made out of wood. One of the things about this library is every room has a different artistic background or in the way that it was built. And what this room that has the wood is called the Craftsman Library. And Craftsman is a particular type of I'd say of art. In a long, long time ago, there were craftsman houses, and they're very, very sturdy and in terms of made of wood. And what you see here, you can see the ceiling, part of the ceiling, which is unusual for ceilings. And there are magazines. This is the big room that has wooden rocking chair. It has a tall wooden clock. But this is the room that has magazines, and it has newspapers, and in many, many different languages throughout the library, multiple languages. So if we kept on moving, we would kind of turn our heads and see what's next. My gosh, that is the entrance to where? Can someone read what it says?
Children's Library.
Uh-huh. And take a look at the books. This is the doorway to enter, and it is the way that the artists did it is with books that are popular with children. So take a look at the names and kind of remember the names because they're going to be bonus points later. All right, getting a good look at those books. We got one, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books there. Okay. I'm sure that we're going to do something fun with the names of those books later. So why don't we walk into the children's library? Now, did anybody expect to see anything like this in the kids' library?
Space shuttle.
What do you see? Yeah, what do you see?
Come on, people. I can't answer every single question.
I know, Carol. Okay,
rocket?
I see.
Okay.
Yes, a rocket. And
Pretty sure that's a lighthouse.
okay, and there are more things there. So let's take you see that red and white striped thing back there?
I said a lighthouse, I think.
On the left side. That is correct. That is a lighthouse. Of course, it's pretend because you're not going to have a lighthouse inside of the library. Where do lighthouses belong? What do they do?
Guide ships back to shore, I guess you could say. They're usually somewhere near the port, not port, like somewhere near the sea, coastline, somewhere near the coastline.
They are definitely near the coastline, and the top part has a light going around and around, and made especially for ships, because when it's really dark and when it's foggy, the ships cannot tell how close to land they are. And if there wasn't a lighthouse, they would just crash on the shore. And, then we'd have to wait even longer for things to be delivered to us. So right now with COVID, we're waiting a long time to get things delivered anyway, but the lighthouses really help a lot. But if you look up, what do you see? Guys looking up? Like kind of like blue and white? Atmospheric condition. Well, that's a good guess, Jared. Okay, if you're looking really, really up, that's the sky. And it's not really the sky, it's like a projection of the sky. And at nighttime, you can see the constellation, the star constellations. But there's more in this room. And all right, people, do you know what that is?
T-Rex, a mock, I don't know, some type of model of the skeleton of a T-Rex.
Well, he's kind of life size. And he has a name. If you were going to name this dinosaur, what would you name it? Would it be a guy dinosaur or a girl dinosaur? Can we tell? How about giving the dinosaur I'll tell you the name of the dinosaur and you tell me what it is in your language. So this dinosaur is named Stan. I guess Stan the man. So is there another name that you'd call either Stan the man, or how would you say dinosaur? You can teach me.
Yeah. Okay. A dinosaur would be a 恐龙, but that basically means a terror dragon or a lizard.
Oh
That's
yeah,
basically what
well,
it means.
he scares me, but there are kids who absolutely love Stan.
Can
He's
you
like,
say that again, Ashley? What is it called?
恐龙.
Konglong?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, cool. Right on.
all right. So let's look around and see what else we see. This is a closer up picture. And it's pretty big, but of course, it's a scale model. If it was the real size, it would probably be about as tall as the library. There's a place in Los Angeles where they have one of the spaceships at the Science Museum, and it is huge. But we have our very own in the kids' library. This is why the kids love coming to the library, because these are things that you generally would never see in a library. So you can see in back there are books, lots and lots of books. That's what this library has. And later on, we'll give you kind of an idea of, and let you guess how many books you think are in the whole library. But what else is there in the kids library? Let's take turn our eyes and see what else is there. My goodness, anybody know what that is?
A fake tree.
Its name is on the presentation.
Yeah, if you're right, but I can't cover it, but this, okay, so real or not? This could be a trick question.
Yeah, students, if you know the answer, please turn on your microphone, unmute yourself, and then just answer what you see in this picture.
So you think this one is real?
I would say, you have a big tree in your downstairs, and now you have a real jungle tree. That's not.
Okay, well, it's a real pretend jungle tree. And because this is from the rainforest, they also have sounds in this library. They make it sound like you're in a rainforest, so you can hear birds chirping and sounds of animals. So this kids' library has a spaceship, it has a dinosaur, it has a lighthouse, it has a jungle in it. It also has an art studio, but I didn't take a picture of that for you. And it also has the other side of the aquarium, but it has more. Computers, and these are kid size. So the kids get to work on something with a chair that fits them, and they get to work on the computers. The games that they could play there would be educational games. The library does not have the regular kinds of games that you might like to play on your computers at home. So much for the Children's Museum. Yeah, I call it a museum because there's just so much there. But what's next? We're going to now take a little walk, and this is across from the wooden Craftsman Room. This is a room that we're going to enter that's just for teenagers. And you can see that there's a clock there. And what do you think of those lights? What do you think of this design? Anybody have an idea of what artistic design this one is?
Maybe like it's maybe a sci-fi kind of feel, maybe. This looks like a disco, but kind of like a disco, honestly.
I can see that looks like sci-fi. It is what is called Art Deco. Art Deco, I think, was popular in a long time ago, like in the 1940s and the 1950s. And so you go in and you can see the carpet. And have you ever seen a table and chairs like that inside a library? I'm going to guess not, because if you have, like I said, I want to visit that library. So we're going to keep walking. And what are we going to find next? This is the room especially for teenagers. Like adults, just teens. And it's got lots of computers, the computer stations. They've got them like along the wall. They have the Apple computers, and then they have the regular PCs. But in front is a computer that's like flat against that table. Yeah, that tablet is really big, and you can touch it and you can see the world. You can see constellations. You can use your fingers to make things smaller or larger. It's a real working computer. And as you walk around, you can see that there are a number of library stations. When across the street from the library is a high school. And when high school gets out, you can see lots and lots of students, and they head straight for the library because they really, really like this room. I took the pictures in the evening, and so the students were not in there. So let's take a look around. What else can we see in the library? What do you see there? And tell me, where would you expect to see a table and seats like this?
I'd see in a cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you would see these things in a cafe or a restaurant, maybe.
Mm-hmm. So imagine, you can understand why the students want to come here after school, so they can just sit with their friends, they can study, or they can just have a good time and talk. So it's really meant for the students to use, and they really, really, really use it. So what about the grown-ups, the adults? Okay, this library has several rooms that are for the adults. And on the right, where you have, and again, take a look at the furniture that's in this library. This on the right-hand side is fiction. And this library has, you name the language and they have books in that language. The city of Cerritos is multicultural, from people really all over the world. But they, in addition to English, they'll have Spanish, they'll have Mandarin, they'll have Korean, you name the kind of language, and fortunately there will be books there. to be able to use anybody can come into the library. You don't have to live in Cerritos, but if you want a library card, then you either need to live in Cerritos, or you need to work in Cerritos, or you need to go to school in Cerritos. If you don't have any one of those and you want to check out a book, for which they have machines that you can just scan the code that's on your book, or you can go to a live person to check something out. If you want to be able to check things out from the library, then you have to pay. And so I'm glad that I live in Cerritos, because if I didn't, then and didn't go to school or work in Cerritos, it would be $100 to be able to use this library, because it's such a beautiful, beautiful library. The picture on the left side is from another room, and this room is like huge. And this is where you'll have nonfiction and any kind of book that you could think of. One of the things is, if you happen to want a book that the library doesn't have, they will either order it to be part of the library, or they have a network so that they can borrow it from a different library. So checking out a book, how long with your libraries, how long can you check out a book?
2 weeks, I think. I'm not sure. It depends on which library you're going to.
Okay. Well, it's 3 weeks for a book that you can check out. I think it's like 3 days if you check out a DVD, because they do have those also. And you can renew the books once unless somebody else wants it. However, with this library, you can go online and you can get it as an ebook or as an audiobook, as well as paper. I still like paper. I just like going back and forth. It's easier for me, but I also love audiobooks. So this would be a couple of the adult library rooms. I did not take a picture of another room they have that's going into like it was you were at home, or a very, very rich, fancy home, because it has other kinds of tables and it has a fake fireplace, so that you can sit by the fireplace and study, read, or just watch the fireplace. So let's see. I went up to the 3rd floor, and as I said, on the 3rd floor is where they have a piano and some art. They have another room which is full of computers that businesses will use as a classroom. And they have another room which is also really big, and it has a stage, curtains and a stage, and performers can perform there, or people could have meetings, or they could have weddings. They have birthday parties. It has a kitchen. This is looking down at the public computers. Anyone? All right, let's guess how many computers you think there are. Hands up or chat.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll give a roundabout guess of 30 right now.
Okay, 50, 100.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 30. I'm very conservative.
You're very conservative, because the guys have this almost right when they said 100. It's actually 85 computers that they have. And people can use them for up to 2 hours, because they want to give other people a chance, because there are still people who don't have a computer, they don't have a laptop, they don't have a tablet, and this is one place that they can go. And there's another room that you can't see that you can pay to have whatever you've got printed. So you can print things, you can copy things also. And you can see the back window. It's really a nice library. So the computer that you see on the right side there, what makes this special as a computer for people with eye problems?
Specify eye problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you specify? Is it like
People who can't see very well. They just can't see very well.
Visual impairments.
okay? Like the keyboard, the words and the letters on the keyboard are bigger, so that you can
Mhm.
see it better.
Mm-hmm. The library has a special room for people who have impaired vision. They have a couple of computers like this with the keyboard being, the letters really large. They have other machines. One that I think is pretty special, they can put the book on like a platform, and then they have a screen that will magnify it really, really large. They also have other rooms that if you and your friends were working on a group project and you needed a room where you could work with a table with connections for your computer. By the way, the library does have internet, free internet. So if you needed a study room for a project, this library has about 5 of those that you would reserve so that you could go in with your friends and you could work on a project together. What do you think of this library?
I would say
And we can go into the big view.
it's really, really stunning. Like in Taiwan, I think you never saw a library like that.
Well, we think that it is really, really special. And as I said, it has won awards in the United States and in the world, because it's not only is it titanium, but it's like solar powered. And it's for the climate, and this was done like some years back. And they also have I won't say exactly planetarium shows, but on the very, very top, there is a patio, and they will supply, I'm trying to think of the name of the machine where you can look up in the sky. Telescopes. They have telescopes too. So who remembers some of the names of those books?
Okay. How many should I list? Just one?
Well, we want to share. We want to give everybody a chance here.
Okay. Someone said Winnie the Pooh already. Okay. Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Pan.
Yep.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. Good show.
Winnie the Pooh.
Wizard of Oz.
I said that.
Mm-hmm.
Stan the Dinosaur. I saw that.
Okay. Yeah. Little Women. What's your favorite part of this library?
Just the, I don't know, the diversity of it. There are so many things in it.
And others, what's your favorite part?
I would say it's those special chairs, special sofas.
Mm-hmm. So how are we doing on the girls and the boys, and what's the points looking like?
High score. That's fantastic.
Okay. So I was just going to tell you, in terms of COVID, when in the first kind of year of COVID, the library was closed because we had places that people could not go in. So for me, one of the things that I did during COVID is I walked, and believe it or not, I walked over 1,000 miles just walking, because I would usually take my car. But you could still check out books from the library. You would either call them or reserve it online. You'd walk to the library. They had a table outside, and then they had the book ready for you. They shortened the hours. The library has been back open for a number of months now. You absolutely have to wear a mask when you go inside. And the hours are shorter, but everything's still there. And a guess for the number of books in this library? Go big.
Okay, go big.
Big.
I'm just gonna guess 1,000,000 for some reason.
Well, go small.
Okay, that's way too big. 100,000.
Was that 200,000 or 100?
100,000.
Oh, go bigger.
Go bigger. Okay. you guys are good.
500,000.
Well, it's over 300,000 books. Over 300,000.
We were equally close, I think.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good. Pretty good. So I've enjoyed talking to you. I've enjoyed hearing from you, because we all learn from one another. I've learned from you, you've learned from me, and maybe one day you'll be able to come out here and enjoy this library, because it's really, really nice and relaxing and fun all at the same time.
Thank you, Toby.
All right. Excellent. Well, as a quick recap,